Hi guys, I promised you all, or certain individuals, a quick video of how I do the gun tackle, or at least how I'm doing the gun tackle here on the Solio Real. I'll give it my best shot. I'm not very good at these video things, but here we go. Anyway, if you can try and picture here, okay, this gun, okay, remove the gun out of the way, you need to have 3 eyelets in place for the gun tackle on deck. Okay, let me just move that back a bit. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Either side of the gun port, okay, in the bulkhead. Okay, left and right of the gun port on the decking. Okay, 2 eyelets. Okay, these will be for the inner haul lines. And you have one more behind the gun, okay, on deck. This is for the in haul line, okay, the inner haul lines. Okay, so in reality, this would be the one that would be used to pull the gun inwards, so they could reload, etc. These ones would be the ones to pull it back towards the gun port again. Okay, so you've got 3 eyelets on deck. Okay, in my case, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 4 or so planks back away from the gun where I've got the in-haul eyelet right there. Okay. On the gun itself, okay, well, not the gun, the carriage itself, you've got 3 more. Okay, you've got on either side, you've got the eyelets which will link up with these ones, okay, on deck, which are the out haul lines. Okay, and you can't really see it from this angle, but right at the back, at the base of the carriage, you can see it over this side, look. We've got 1 more eyelet, okay. This will obviously link up to the eyelet behind the carriage, okay, which is your in-haul lines, okay. Basically all we're doing is we're running a thread. For example, on this gun here, we run some thread goes through this eyelet, through the eyelet here, round, tie off, okay, making a loop. That's simple, okay. And on this gun, that would be your right out haul line. Same again applies on this side, okay, running it through this eyelet, through the one on the deck, okay, all the way round, and then you have the left out haul lines, okay. And then again, using we go over this side now, you can see it better. Okay, you got the tack mount behind your guns, okay, which is roughly about four planks, give or take, in my case. So the one that I've attached, the eyelet I've attached at the base, at the back of each gun carriage, okay, so it's going from here to here, run through with the thread, through here with the thread, tie, job done. Okay, then now you've got the in-haul line. This will be the one to pull the guns back in. Alright, believe it or not, these are actually the easier ones. The more fiddly one, not so much in this area, but when you start getting to areas, for example, like here, next to the step, you don't have a lot of room to work with, so patience is the key. Or one of those beeping tools if you're making videos, because you're going to swear a lot. But this line here, this is your breech line. This one here. Okay, so now all I'm doing in real life, this would go similar to this, but it would actually be attached and fixed to the inside of the bulkhead. Okay, so this part, the red part, the inside. But I didn't particularly like drilling holes on the inside of the bulkheads on this, so what I've done is I've used exactly the same eyelets that I've used for the out haul lines, and all I'm doing is getting a length of thread. Obviously it's a lot bigger than the thread you're using for the inner and outer haul lines. Tie a knot in it. Now, I was often asked, how do I get these to sit nicely on deck like they do? The key is in which way up the knot is. When you're tying the knot and then you're putting it over the breech, which is this end of the cannon here, you want to do it so that the loop of the knot is facing downwards and the actual knot itself is facing upwards. So that when you put this over here and you tighten it, the natural direction of the thread is facing down slightly, do you see? You might be able to see better over this side. See, it's facing down. It's going downwards, not upwards. Yeah, you want it to go downwards. Then all you're doing is you're with a pair of tweezers, you're grabbing this line underneath the out haul lines on both sides. And then, this is the awkward part, using a needle threader, probably the most important thing you'll ever have in your arsenal of gadgets for model ships, okay, especially when it comes to these sort of ships, because obviously the rigging, okay, you poke this through the eyelet, and then you get the thread inside here, this little bit here, and you push it between the threader. Once you've got this through the threader, you only need to put 2 or 3 mil of it, 2 or 3 mil of the end of the breech line through the threader. Then you grab the threader again and you pull it through. And then what you'll do is you'll pull this line here straight through this eyelet. Okay, get it sitting roughly where you want it, how you want it. Cut off. Then add a bit of glue, little dab of glue. What's nice about this is when you put the glue onto the rope, onto the thread absorbs it. So you don't get it dripping all over. Well, you will do if you put too much on, but it doesn't really go onto the deck. Okay, it just literally gets absorbed, and it makes this bit of the rope here hard so it doesn't come out. And that is basically it. It's quite simple when you've got room to work, but like you say, when you get up to like that area near the steps towards the stern, it gets really difficult. But basically you just put in, we go to this gun over here, on the carriage you're putting one eyelet at the very base at the back there. You put in an eyelet either side of the carriage, yeah, roughly above the rear wheels, give or take. You know, I mean, you'll work it out however you want to do it, but roughly about there. That's the gun tack mounts for the carriage. Then you can see it this side. So just in front of the gun port on the deck, you put the left and the right eyelets for the out haul lines on the deck. Okay, yes, it means drilling holes and putting eyelets in, but you know, that's neither here or there. But yeah, so an eyelet there, eyelet there. This will link up with the two you just put on either side of your carriage. Same goes on the deck for every gun. You might want it closer, you might want it further apart, but that's entirely up to you. But one more here, okay, and that will link up with the one you've got on the back of your carriage. There, okay. What I'm planning on doing is probably making a lot of rolls of thread, and I might put them next to each out haul and one behind or to the side of each in haul, yeah, to simulate the rolls of line. Okay, but that is pretty much it. The only thing I would suggest is show you that quickly now. This one's been well used, but this is a block of beeswax. Okay, cost me about £3.50, I think it was, off eBay for 4, I think it was, or 5. I run every thread through that and get a good coat of wax on the thread. I do that with every thread there is, whether it be running rigging, standing rigging, gun tackle, it doesn't matter. It'll stop them from getting all fluffy, etc. And it also, when you tie your knots, etc., it also makes them nice and tight, and it grips well as well. Most important thing I will say though, when you're tightening knots up on your out haul and your in haul lines, be very careful. It doesn't take a lot to rip off these eyelets on your gun carriages. It's not so bad on the ones on the deck because you've drilled holes and you put them in, but for these ones, obviously you've got to cut the eyelets to length and then you've got to put them on the actual carriage. So there's not a great deal in there to hold. I use a little bit of super glue, and the glue I use, this is also another thing I'd like to show you as well. I don't use normal super glue because it gets everywhere. I use this Loctite Super Glue Ultra Gel, and it is literally that, a gel. Okay, it doesn't run everywhere, it doesn't spill, it is literally a little gel, and you put a little dab on, put it on, okay, and then obviously leave it to dry. And that is probably another good tip when it comes to your gun carriages, your guns, and all your tackle. Everything you do, whether it's gluing eyelets onto the carriages, whether it's gluing the actual carriages to the deck, leave everything to dry longer than you think it should be. If you think, right, I'll get on with the tackle now, don't. Give it another few hours to really set, because it don't take a lot to rip things off, especially when you start tightening the lines and you start tying things off. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much how I'm doing my gun tackle. As you can see from the tips of my tweezers, the distance between this eyelet and this one here is about 4.5, 5 mil, 5 mil, no more than 5 mil. It's probably under that. So to use minute little blocks, the gap would have been so small between the two, and the chances, and you know, trying to get the lines all nice and tight and nice and straight and everything, it would have just been too much. So what I try to do is I try to simulate the gun tackle, but by doing it this way, I just got, as you can see, I've just got really nice straight lines. Everything's nice, everything's the same, and it runs all the way along the ship. But yeah, anyway, I can't remember who it was I was promising this video to, but I hope that helps. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and keep on building. Cheers, guys.